Okay, so this time what I want to do is show you how to make a basic game board. This one's obviously quite small. I can scale it to any size, but I just want to use it as a demonstration. So I'm going to make one like this, and then I'm actually going to make one that's kind of warped, like this one. So it has a sort of a unique characteristic, and you can shape it or cut that out or anything you want. But I'm going to give you a couple different techniques using LibreCAD that will allow you to do something like this. And this is going to be super fast and super easy. So that being said, let me go ahead and switch my camera. Okay, so let me pause this. I'll switch my camera. Okay, so let's get started with this. All we really need to do is essentially make one block, or two, I guess, the light block and the dark block, and then repeat it or copy and paste it. And it's going to go really quick. So let me show you. I'm going to get started here. I'm going to start with a rectangle. And if you'll notice down here, you'll see the number, the scale. Remember, I'm in millimeters. So I'm going to make this thing with my each block about 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. Again, I can scale this either here or in RDworks before I make it. So I'm going to start off good down here on the origin and click it up. And you might be saying, well, that you can see already that's 100 by 100. I really just want to make this 10 by 10, or actually 20 by 20. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click, and now I have my 20 by 20 or 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter block. So let me move that into the center of the screen so we can work with it. All right, excellent. Okay, so let me now take this block and I'm going to chamfer the edges. I'm going to round it off. All right, so I'm going to do that by choosing this tool. I'm sorry, fillet. I'm going to fillet, in which case you select the two sides you want to curve. Notice that when I'm on fillet, I'm going to be doing it with a radius of 1 millimeter. So it's going to be a gentle curve. You can set that to whatever you want up here. So I'm going to click this and click that. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can actually appreciate it's actually doing something. All right, there we go. We have our block. So in RDworks, if you want to do an etch, all right, you can do that by simply, taking an area and making it all one color. So draw the boundary and say, for example, blue or whatever you select, and then simply tell it that you want to use it as a scan instead of a cut. But what I want to do right now is I'm going to start making a design, and I am going to select this. Okay. And I just hit the escape button to get me through the, you can either click on the arrow or just hit escape and that'll get you there. So now I've got this selected, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to find my anchor point. I'm going to choose this corner right there. And then what I want to do is, normally this would be, for example, the next square. If we assume this one's dark, I want this one to be light. So I actually want to skip a square. So I'm going to go all the way to over here. And then I actually want to make multiple copies. A chess set has 8 by 8. The way it works out best is I actually want to go a little bit beyond that because I can always delete it because I'm going to stagger them. Okay, so I'm going to make not 3 more copies. I'm going to make 4 more copies. And I do want to make multiple copies and say OK. And now you can see that I have 4 copies. Okay, so I have a total of 5. Now what I want to do is I'm going to select this, and I'm going to do the same process again. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can zip my finer detail. All right, and I'm going to use the copy. I'm going to choose my reference point, which is going to be that corner right there. And now what I want to do is I want to move that either this direction or this direction. I'll move this direction and get it lined up. And I'm going to make, in this case, I don't need to make an extra. All right, I'm just going to make 3 more copies. No, I'm going to make 1 more copy. I'm sorry. I'm going to make one more copy. I'm going to keep the original, all right, and go like that. There. Now I have the basic sort of format. So now I'm going to select this. All right, and I'm going to make copies of it. And I'm going to choose that as my reference. And I'm going to bring it up and place it right there. And in this case, I want to make 3 more copies. Cool. All right, so now I've got all my bits in here. So what I want to do now is trim the edges. So I want to trim off this. And I want to trim off, let's see, I'm going to make sure I've got 8. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll trim off this side. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so I tend to use blue, believe it or not, for the scanning on my particular copy of RDworks. You can do whatever you want. We can change it on the fly. It just makes it easier for myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this, and then I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to select Attributes. And I am going to change that color to blue. Okay? And now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a border around it because I want to cut this thing out. So I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to call this Cutout. And I'm just going to leave it black and white. Say OK. And I'm going to choose a rectangle. And there you have it. Now I have a cutout layer. And I'm going to save this. And I'm going to call this a basic, let's say I'll just call it chessboard. And now I'm going to go to RDworks. And I'm going to import my chessboard. And like I said, I tend to use blue as a scanning layer. So if you don't have it set up that way, whatever color you chose, it doesn't matter. What you would end up doing is going down here and choosing scan instead of cut. Now my Omtech laser, I have a 60-watt Omtech. It seems to do a fantastic job moving 400 at a power of 20%. And there you can see it. Okay, and if I go ahead and run it like so, we can do a simulation. It's not quite yet on your screen. Sorry, it'll get there. There you go. Now you can start seeing it cut. And it all looks fantastic. So I'm going to stop that. And the last thing I'll show you is, like I said, I can scale it to whatever I want. So what I have done here is I've selected the entire board. You can see that it's currently 160 by 160, or 16 centimeters by 16 centimeters. I think the one that I actually had here at first was actually just an 8 centimeter board. So I can make sure that that's locked. I can set that to 80 millimeters or 8 centimeters, hit enter, and now I can go ahead and put this on my cutter, and it is going to go ahead and cut out that basic board. So I hope that was useful. Show you how to use the copy and paste function. And next thing I'll do is I'll show you how to make a warp board, but I think I'll do that in a separate video. It's a little more complex, so I'll see you again really soon.